Hey, thank you so much. I'm so good to be with you. Um, this my own spiritual path is guided by the central text of the Song of Songs, which sort of sets me on a path of love, and and each week there's a theme that is given to me by the song. The theme this week has to do with beauty, and not just beauty, but the appreciation, the expression, the living in the beauty way. And to know that beauty is not just something that is decorative, but it is core, it is substance. And I came across this quote from Anais Nin that says, "We don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are." And I think that that being able to come into a state of the recognition of beauty allows us then to open our eyes and to see beauty out there. And it's absolutely essential that in our practice we are kind of aiming ourselves towards that state so that we'll be able to see and acknowledge and celebrate and lift up the beauty in the world, which is what can heal us, really. And so I wanted to bring to you a couple of sacred phrases from our that to just inspire us in our practice. And if you want to just share that handout, Natalie, and just go down to the bottom first, then I wanted to just bring this first. When we'll sing this at the end of our meditation. It's an amazing phrase from the book of Kohelet, of Ecclesiastes, that says God makes everything beautiful in its time, and also hides the universe in their hearts. So I say that Kohelet lays before us this profound spiritual challenge to completely enjoy what is before you, even through uncertainty, even though all our pleasures are temporary. The practice is given is to receive and comprehend the beauty of this changing world without grasping or attachment. The hint that we're given, which can help us, is that everything that we perceive as outside ourselves is actually hidden within our own hearts. And that's where we go in our meditation, to that hidden place where the beauty is hidden. The practice is to look inward and to find the whole universe hidden there, waiting to be discovered. So everything being beautiful in its time, and we can perceive the beauty of each and every phase of our existence and then we can recognize that this truth has been in us all along. And so if you want to go up to the top now of the practice from the Song of Songs that can lead us into our meditation of beauty, because the lovers of the Song of Songs are always saying to each other, "Oh, you're so beautiful, how beautiful you are, how beautiful." And this is a kind of a way to expand ourselves into the sacred space of beauty, to find the universe there. So we're going to chant these words 3 times. And the first time that we sing it as a love song to our lives, and to begin to acknowledge and appreciate the beauty that's in our lives, and really put our attention there, because whenever we put our attention on is what we are growing. So that's the first repetition, and I usually then close my eyes and just enter into the reverie of beauty. And then when I sing it again, what I want to do is open my eyes, and we can actually look at each other. We can sort of go to gallery view and see each other and sing this as a love song to the beauty here on the screen, in the room that you're in whatever's outside your window, whoever you're with, we can sing that song to them. And the third time, we close our eyes and imagine that God is singing this to each of us, and really receive that acknowledgement of your unique beauty. And as we enter the silence, we can just notice where beauty takes us, how we can rest in that state of beauty. So hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. A love song to our lives. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. So open your eyes, and we can just let go of that handout, Natalie, and so that we could all see each other, and we can sing this to a face. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. And really with feeling, send that message. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Now close your eyes and imagine that God is chanting this to you, and you are completely receiving it, contradicting any kind of feeling of yourself as not being totally beautiful. Receive that appreciation. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, 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 hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. So as we enter the silence, take these words in. Just notice where it takes you. Let your own heart sing, for you need no other song. Yours is the beauty for which the sun rises. Yours is the beauty the stars attend. Yours is the beauty for which winter compromises. The fields wave, the waves rush, and the rushes bend. Yours is the beauty the worlds have come to celebrate. And in the last couple of minutes of our meditation, I'll invite you to survey the inner landscape. We know that we don't see the world as it is, we see the world as we are. And as you look into that vast space within, see if you can find a spark of the beautiful within you. And breathe into that spark. And allow that spark to become a radiance that fills you and fills the inner space. So each breath, breathing into the center of your beauty, shining out that radiance. Finding there the whole universe hidden. Et הכל עשה יפה ביטול, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, גם את העולם נתן בליבם. If you would share the text again, Natalie. את הכל עשה יפה ביטול. And just scroll up to the left so I can see the bottom of it the other way. גם את העולם נתן בליבם, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, את הכל עשה יפה ביטול, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, את הכל עשה יפה ביטול, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, את הכל עשה יפה ביטול, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, את הכל עשה יפה ביטול, גם את העולם נתן בליבם, גם את העולם נתן בליבם. So close your eyes one more time and make a promise to find the beauty inside and allow that to open you to the beauty out there, that when you open your eyes, that's what you will see.
So much, Rabbi Shefa Gold, as always. And let's close that really beautiful practice. Those of you who are in mourning, observing a yard side, or if it's your custom to join in the mourner's Kaddish, are invited to do so. If you're not reciting Kaddish, as always, we invite you, ask you, please, to stay present for those who are. so that you can extend your compassion and support their way. Thanks, Natalie, for sharing the words on the screen. If you'd like to put the name or names of those you're honoring in the chat now or after you recite Kaddish, you're welcome to do so. And if you're reciting it, please join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitgadal, Kadash, Shemir Rabbi, Yomad, Yirach, Yireh, Malchutei, Hadeon, V'Yomechon, Yomei V'Tovit, Yisrael, V'Agala,
Yishlei Rabba Mibarach,
Rabba Mevarach,
Olam
Lameinu Maya,
Baruch
Barach, V'Yishtabach, Ar, Yitadar, Yitlen, Al Shukol, Ila, Yehob, Yerchata, V'Shirata, V'Nechama, Man, Alma, Shlama, Rabba, Mitzvaya, Chaim, Alim, V'Yalchu Yisrael, V'Yimru, Amen. Shalom, V'Rama,
Shalom,
Aleinu,
all
V'Yalchu
Israel,
Yisrael, V'Yalchol, V'Teitel, V'Yimru. Amen. Friends, thanks for joining us so much today. And if you're leaving us now, and hope you'll join us tomorrow, Rabbi Dorothy Richmond will be leading our practice, and Rabbi Jordan Ben Dadapel will be hosting. In my stead, I'm not available tomorrow. Thanks to Jordan for doing so. So you're in for a treat tomorrow with Rabbi Jordan Ben Dadapel and Rabbi Dorothy Richmond. And on Friday, El Shai will lead us to sit into Shabbat. So we hope you'll join us either or both of those times. And we hope you stay safe and well in the meantime. And if you're staying on, which we hope you will, you're welcome just to use this time to sit and bask in the beauty as Shefa invited us today. You can turn off the sound on your computer or device and just stay with that. Or you can join us for some conversation about the practice. And if you'd like to ask a question of Shefa, please put it in the chat and preface it by writing question all in caps. And I'll keep an eye out for that, try to work it into the conversation. Shefa, thank you so much. Really, as I said before we kind of got on, pretty much what the doctor ordered for me. Just want to start off by inviting you to kind of take us through that practice again, this beauty practice, which is laid out in the source sheet, and people should hold on to that. But what I understand it from your description is starting by calling to mind and bringing into awareness the beauty in our lives, which I guess could mean people in our lives or aspects of our lives. And then the second is more specifically beauty that's in our immediate vicinity.
Right
Yeah.
here. Yeah.
And then the third is beauty in ourselves.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not, the third, it's not just beauty in ourselves, it's really receiving the acknowledgement from God.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's sometimes we're conditioned to think like, oh, I'm a little too fat, or I'm a little
Mm-hmm.
too old, or a
Right.
little anything. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what shuts us down to the
Right.
fullness of our radiance, really.
Right.
And so to let it somehow to penetrate all of our resistances, and um, the way that the lovers speak to each other in the song is, you are so beautiful, you're
Mm-hmm.
perfect, like to receive that, and then to let it contradict some of those other places where we demean ourselves, because I think that our beauty is connected to our power, and we
So the
shed we
sequence
shed.
there, I mean, for me, my perspective is that that third piece is the most challenging for the reasons you just said, and you said while we were practicing. The others may be a little less, more accessible. Is that why you is that the reason for the sequence? Like
Kind of, yeah, it's kind of building up to that. That's the practice,
uh-huh.
to building towards that. Um, but but you might want to just do one of those three. I mean, it's to use it. But the important kind of the commandment of the Song of Songs is that if you see something beautiful, you don't just acknowledge it inside. You got to say something. If you
Hmm.
see something, say something. That's the rule that that to live by, because the more that you say, to kind of force yourself to say it, the more real it becomes. It's almost as if when God creates the world, it's not really even there until God says it is good, you know.
Hmm.
And that acknowledgement of its essential goodness is what brings it into being. And it's the same thing with beauty. I think that that's the challenge that I take on in my life. If I see, if I'm walking, or I do this when I'm walking in an airport or something, I see somebody who even like has these shoes that I really like,
Hmm.
and even though I'm a kind of an introvert, I've sort of decided like, no, no, you have to say something,
Hmm.
and and then something shifts, like when if I when I uh, uh, something opens up when I do that in me and also in them. And there's so much meanness and put down in the world. I want to kind of, in response to it, I want to bring this, acknowledgement of beauty, even for the
Making me
small.
think of do you know maybe you know the song by Libby Roderick? Do you know Libby Roderick? How could anyone ever tell you that you were anything less than beautiful? You know that familiar with that?
Huh?
Yeah. Um, I guess what I'm thinking about, well, it's interesting that you said that. I was as you were saying that, I was thinking, oh, but it also means if someone's not wearing, beautiful shoes or looking particularly beautiful in my eyes, like Dafka, like, specifically in that situation, to say, oh, I'm having a judgment here that that's less than beautiful, but actually, I want to cultivate this sense of that's beautiful just the way it is. But it raises the question, like there is a question in the chat, which came up for me with the verse, God makes everything beautiful in its time, beito, right? Ron is asking, how do you reconcile that with the "You are beautiful, my friend Raya T, my beloved, um, my darling." But the in its time felt limiting to me. Like sometimes it's beautiful, and sometimes it's not beautiful, and that didn't seem to go with this the theme of.
And it all depends on what state I'm in.
Hmm.
So I'm always moving through different states of consciousness. When I can come to that state of beauty, then I can, then it's time, that's, but sometimes, and maybe sometimes that when you don't see something beautiful now, maybe tomorrow you'll see it differently. That's its time, I guess. But I want to always come back to, it's not about what's out there, it's about my state.
Hmm.
And when I can be in that state, um, then everything looks beautiful to me. And if I'm not in that state, I don't see any beauty. you know
Right.
and there's lots of different variations along the way to that. But I mean, I brought that verse from Kohelet because
That's an amazing verse.
it's just so deep. It's
It's
just
an
such a
amazing verse. Yeah.
mystery. I wanted it to shine some light on
Yeah.
our, our practice of beauty.
Yeah. Thanks for that. It's really an extraordinary verse. And what you do with it, I think it's really so beautiful. Um, I want to stay with the objection to understanding ourselves as being beautiful or having beauty or being able to absorb that, that third phase divine message. If I may ask you, what do we do with the objections that arise? Let's say, you were talking about like how we're conditioned. whatever critique we've gotten or whatever message, which I think that question came up in the chat too. The conditioning, I think, has to do with the cultural conditioning about what is beautiful and what's not beautiful, et cetera, and how we measure up against that standard, which is pretty
It's
much
a reason.
impossible.
The reason that I believe in ecstatic practice, meaning like going to an expanded state, and in that expanded state, I can bring that message in, and maybe and because there's an opening in me there, and then when I bring awareness to that state that I'm in,
Hmm.
then I'll be able to find my way back there. That's what ecstatic practice is.
I've actually
It's
wanted to ask you about that for a while, so this is good.
okay,
This is
good.
good. Let's go a little deeper with that. Because interesting, because you describe yourself as an introvert, and yet also you have, this ecstatic practice, right? And people often think, including me, that contemplative practice, which is a quieter practice, right, is kind of goes along with being an introvert, this kind of quieting down. So I might want to just invite you to say a little bit more about that, about what do you mean by ecstatic practice, and what's the state of consciousness that creates that allows for a contemplative, just as when you lead, we always start with a chant and then that leads into silence. So that's a little bit of a taste of this, I guess.
Yeah. Because the practice of ecstasy is coming into full aliveness. It's opening my heart, relaxing my body, clearing my mind. It is taking a journey to the vastness that I am,
Hmm.
and then um, and then the training that I bring to it is to bring awareness to the state.
Hmm.
And it's that awareness that gives me a pathway to
Hmm.
always have access to it.
Hmm.
And I don't look at contemplative and ecstatic as being kind of opposite in some way.
Right. They
It's like
complement each other.
they give each other
Right.
the space and like a yin yang kind of thing
Hmm.
that they're center at the center of my ecstasy is that point of contemplation of awareness. And in my contemplation, I want that to have at its center this kind of sparkling aliveness,
Hmm.
because sometimes you can do contemplation and kind of be, dull your energy or shut yourself down.
Hmm.
And so it feels like they really need each other.
Yeah. I, this is really interesting to me. So the ecstatic practice kind of, I don't know, brings up, I'm lacking a better word here, just brings up that aware, sense of aliveness. And just to name some ecstatic practices like singing, chant, music, right? Dance,
Dancing,
movement, right?
yeah, and all of it requires you to lose your self-consciousness
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
to just to be in the fullness of your being without um, you know, when I say unself-consciously, it doesn't mean that I
Hmm.
don't have awareness. It means that there's no judgment about what it looks like. It's like it's because it's sourced on the inside,
Right.
and
Right.
it's like raising the energy, and from there, when I go into the silence, I'm in a different place in that with that silence. Um, there's a much a wider
Hmm.
landscape of the my inner being
Hmm.
when if I have kind of raised myself up to it.
I guess the barometer for that is just kind of being aware of the level of our self-consciousness, right? Or discomfort. Thinking about it, we were looking at each other while we were chanting, and I also want to leave a couple of minutes for us to end again by coming back to the chant. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but it's just interesting. Like, some people are very comfortable chanting. I mean, it may have to do with feeling comfortable with the Hebrew or not, but some people are comfortable chanting, some people maybe not be so comfortable chanting or self-conscious about chanting, or some people may have chosen, I'm not going to worry about it, how I look or sound, right? What's your experience with that about working? Like, how do you encourage people to move through that kind of self-consciousness?
It's it's bringing awareness to the inner dimensions of it, rather than what it sounds like. What is it? Is uh, and it's funny because I don't try to make a beautiful sound. I try to make a sound that's true, really, and the truth of it will be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm teaching other people how to chant, what I value in their chant is how authentic, how true, how they're taking what's inside them and bringing it out with generosity
Mm-hmm.
into the world. And that to me, uh, it's different than singing. Although you become a better singer from doing it, just because that's kind of what happens along the way. But it's it's a very different practice, really.
Yeah.
It's
Well, do you want to take us out with another couple of rounds? Okay.
okay. So, do you want to hear the Hinach Yafa Rayati? Shall
Yeah,
we see?
let's do the Hinach Yafa.
Yeah,
That's I think.
yeah. So, so as we chant this, you just might want it, to take it in as a way of like a lifestyle, a way of saying that um, there is, you know, the, the expression of my being, of acknowledging the beauty in it, in the world, in me, and in others, changes everything. So let it be expressed. Hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa, 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 hinach yafa rayati, hinach yafa. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Shefa. As always, a real gift to have this opportunity to practice with you. Thanks so much for helping us tap into the beauty around and within us today.
Thanks for having me here.
And thanks to Natalie and to each of you for being here. Hope to see you all tomorrow